Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, the Black Business School. And I want to welcome you guys to the Black Financial Channel, the theblackfinancialchannel.com. So if you want to get financial news and commentary from a Black perspective on a daily basis, make sure you subscribe to theblackfinancialchannel.com. You can also follow the Black Financial Channel on Instagram. What's going on? Speaking of Instagram, how you doing, Instagram? I see my friends down there. My Instagram is the real Boyce Watkins. So if you want to follow me there, feel free to do that. How's everybody feeling today? Let me know if you're feeling good or you're feeling kind of or bad or whatever the case may be. I'm gonna say I'm feeling good in a Nina Simone kind of way, and it's I feel like every day that we're alive, it's a good day. What's going on? Let's see. I see my sisters from Kansas City. Okay, I know Kansas City pretty well. I got some friends out there. I know the difference between KCK and KCMO, and I got friends on both sides of that border. So God bless everybody out in Kansas City. Hey, Brandon and Terry and Ishay and everybody else. Good morning to everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, so shout out the city that you're from. Also put your B1 in the chat, hashtag B1, to let us know that you're Black First. B1 stands for Black First and also stands for the fact that in order for us to prosper as a community, we must be one. Hey, Lauren, how you doing? Good to see you. Lauren, very smart Black lady out there in Las Vegas. I love you, sister. And let's see, Soultastic. Hello, how are you? All right, so let me jump into the conversation for today. The obvious backdrop of what's happening in the world right now, obviously, is with this virus. And you guys know I try my best not to get too involved in stupid politics, the Democrat Republican stuff. When people ask me who am I voting for in the next election, Democrats or Republicans, I say I'm not voting for either one. I'm voting for Black people. And voting for Black people to me means engaging in a consistent and empowered strategy to develop strength in our community, to develop wealth channels, and to develop pathways to freedom and empowerment for all of us as a community, so that we can pretty much shape our own destiny collectively and individually. And so with that being said, I'll tell you a little bit about what I found out through my research. Basically, if you want to know what's going on in terms of the economy, now the economics and the politics and the health are all kind of blended together. So right now, people are sort of deciding how to balance those two. At what point do you say, okay, I got to pay my bills, I got to get out here and work and do what I got to do, and then versus saying, we're going to just keep it down until the coast is completely clear. And I think that it's important that as a country, we sort of figure out what that benchmark looks like. For some people, it comes down to like when a vaccine is ready. But a lot of people aren't going to take a vaccine, right? Or some people say, well, it's when we can test everybody or have enough ventilators or whatever. I think that there has to be some sort of measuring stick, because what's kind of going on right now is the economy is kind of acting really crazy, to the point where a lot of you that may have lost your jobs, those jobs may not be coming back ever. In fact, they started moving a lot of companies have announced that they're moving things remotely. Everybody's using Zoom now. Some people are using that Microsoft Teams or whatever. I don't think there's a comparison. I think Zoom is just a much better company all the way around. And also a much better stock, by the way. If you don't recall, like about a month and a half ago, I happened to mention that I bought a bunch of Zoom stock, and Zoom stock zoomed to the top. So as the crisis took place, what happened was a lot of your economy just shifted online. A lot of your activity shifted online. The same way, before Diddy was doing stuff on TV and doing stuff in the studio and having meetings in his office, now Diddy's on the internet. Before 2 months ago, you didn't see Diddy doing, Facebook Lives and stuff like that. Now that's what he's doing. The same thing with a lot of your celebrities, Teddy Riley, and I think Sierra and Russell Wilson were doing stuff. So basically a lot of the activity has just kind of happened inside now. So it doesn't mean you don't have an economy. It just means that it's a different kind of economy. And what unfortunately can occur is you're going to end up having to watch a lot of your old economy just crash and burn, because it's not going to go back to normal. And so if you want to know specific statistics, because you guys know I'm a mathematician, so I want to know the math. I want to know the real numbers. I don't really care what CNN has to say, what MSNBC has to say, or what Fox has to say, because I don't feel like they give adequate information. I think that they're trying to get ratings by giving scare tactics and just throwing data or throwing things out there without any context whatsoever. I don't like that. So I like context. So here's what I have found out. Basically, right now, I think we have about 840,000 cases all throughout the U.S. Now, if you want to know what that number represents in a nation of 331 million people, that's about 1 in 400 people. So if you go out and you find 400 people in a crowd, one of them on average is going to have the virus. And also that one person is probably not going to die. Most of the likelihood of dying when you have it is very, very low. And most of the people that are dying are older people, senior citizens. And so what's happened actually has been really interesting is in Sweden. Sweden's tried something a little bit different. Sweden never did the whole lockdown. What Sweden did was they encouraged social distancing. They kept all the restaurants open. They let people gather in small crowds, not big ones. And actually, what they're finding is that they claim, this is what they claim. They're claiming that they've been able to create what is called herd immunity. That basically the virus is kind of spread throughout the population. Some people have died. They said most of the people that have died have been in the nursing homes and things like that. And if you know anything about nursing homes, a lot of people go to nursing homes when they're pretty unhealthy, when they're pretty much, kind of, I guess, the weakest among the pack. So that creates an ethical question, right? Is it okay that, that we had some people in nursing home, a lot of people in nursing homes die, and then a few people that were obese die? I saw a Black Enterprise study that said that over half of the COVID cases in the Black community were obese individuals, right? And I'm gonna tell you personally, that vindicated me a little bit, because if you recall 2 months ago, I was getting dragged pretty bad in the white media because I called out the whole idea of Lizzo mass promoting obesity as if obesity was a good thing, as if you want to be, as if being fat is as healthy as being, healthy, right? And as a former fat person myself, I just can't, I couldn't sit back and allow that to be perpetuated, because I see a lot of my folks dying because we have these issues with obesity and heart disease and strokes and diabetes and all these other things that come with that. So now with the COVID thing, I think that what's happening is you're kind of hitting this point of reckoning where people are having to contrast and contradict the fact that you're outraged about Black people dying from this virus, but yet you were cheering on the mass promotion of obesity in the Black community. Like, I can't cheer for you to smoke the crack pipe and then be sad when you die from a crack overdose, right? It doesn't make any sense, right? So we have to sort of find a way to reconcile our value system and decide, do we want Black people to live or do we want them to die? If you want them to die, then fine, keep cheering on obesity, keep cheering on unhealthy behavior, keep cheering on, all the things that are killing us. And then we're going to die. That's what happens. When you kill yourself, you're going to die. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Let me dig into something I wanted to ask or mention to you guys today. Also, I want to also mention that we're doing Black Movie Night, which is tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. So if you'd like to join us at Black Movie Night, we're going to watch The Melanin Code together online. It's going to be awesome. Thousands of people show up to Black Movie Night, and it's really, really fun. And so it's totally free. So if you want to register for Black Movie Night, go to blackmovienight.net. That's blackmovienight.net. So here's one question somebody asked me, and I thought it would be interesting to dig into since we talk about financial topics. How many of you, give me a yes or no, how many of you saw the headlines? I hope some of you saw this, because I hope that some of you I hope I've encouraged some of you to at least try to follow along with what's happening in the world economically. First step toward, building wealth is to follow wealth and understand wealth and to pay attention to when wealth is in the media. How many of you saw what happened with the price of oil yesterday? Did anybody see what happened to the price of oil? There was a historic event that occurred with the price of oil. I'm going to put on my lotion so I don't, because y'all make fun of me because I have ashy hands. Y'all want to call me Ashley. So I'm going to put my lotion on while you give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no if you saw what happened with the price of oil. How many of you saw what happened with the price of oil yesterday? Yes or no? Thumbs up. Just say yes, no, something in the chat. Okay, Lori Pepper says yes. HFL seen it. K Galindo. Okay, good. Oil is negative. Yes. Okay, so when they say oil is negative, actually, that's technically not that's really technically not what's happening exactly. What happened was it's basically a glitch in the futures market. In the futures market, if you know, the futures are basically transactions that occur in the future, where you make an agreement where you say, okay, I'm going to make an agreement with you in January to buy oil from you for $30 a barrel in March, right? So we're making a deal now, but it's really an agreement on something that's going to happen in the future, right? So maybe it's like if I might say to you, look, a year from now, I'm going to hire you, and let's make an agreement now that I'm going to pay you $50 an hour or whatever, right? In a year, right? So when a year rolls around, then I got to deliver on the deal unless I somehow get out of that deal. right? So with the futures market, it's really a fascinating market in the sense that you have the people that trade in that market because they're really in that market, right? Like they really want the oil, like they really want the delivery of oil. So an airline might say, yeah, we want to go ahead and lock in the price of our oil now, so that, you know, when we get it later on, we're not going to be affected by any fluctuation in the price of that oil. Whereas you have speculators on the other side. Speculators are people that want to receive risk, right? Risk gets pushed around the same way Corona gets pushed around, or the same way the same way you give people food or whatever it is, right? So you can actually share risk and hand it over to somebody else. So the airline says, look, we don't want no parts of this. We don't need no, chaos, in our bottom line. We want stability for our shareholders. So let's go ahead and lock in the price of oil now so that we're good, right? And so a speculator might come along and say, sure, okay, I'll lock you in at the price of oil and I'll take on that risk. So if the price of oil moves in a favorable direction, like if the price goes way up, then I win as a speculator, because I agreed to to buy oil from you at $10 a barrel, but now the price is $40 a barrel, so I'm making a profit on every barrel that I can sell in the open market, right? And vice versa. So long story short, you have those two types of entities that come together and sort of make things happen. Well, what happens is that as the contracts get close to maturity, meaning, it's late February, or it's February and you're trading on a contract that expires in March, or it's April and you're trading on contracts that expire in May. Well, at the end of the contract, there has to be a delivery of that oil. Somebody has to take that oil, right? It's like if I bought the oil and the futures contract hits, the expiration date hits, then I've actually got to take physical delivery of that oil. Well, the problem is that the price of oil has dropped so much, and oil has become so worthless in the economy because nobody wants it, and there's an extreme oversupply. Now the price goes negative, because now in order for you to get somebody to take that oil, you got to pay them to take the oil, right? Like they actually have to pay someone to take delivery of that oil, which means that if I'm a person that actually has a company where I actually want the oil and I have extra space to store the oil, then I can make money just by saying, sure, I'll take your oil, almost like an adopted baby. Will you take my baby? I'll pay you to take my baby, right? And so basically that's what it is. You're babysitting oil in a world where nobody wants oil. Oil is not of value like it used to be, because everybody's oil storage facilities are all filled up. Nobody, the airlines are like, we don't need oil. We're not even flying our planes. The cruise ships are like, we don't need oil because nobody's taking a cruise, right? Consumers are like, we don't need oil. Well, we don't need gas, which, oil makes gas, right? It has to be refined, so the gas stations are like, we don't need your oil. So ultimately it ends up becoming this weird glitch that happens, and it's never happened before. And it's also a function of a lot of the weirdness that happens in this market, where you've got a lot of what they call program traders and computer programs that just have these algorithms where they will sell at a certain point, buy at a certain point based on certain indicators. And then you can get just these weird violations of the laws of financial physics. And so, ultimately, I think, is it a bad thing or a good thing? I think it's a bad thing overall for the economy, in the sense that what you're seeing is just all this weird chaos, as you watch your economy kind of just fall apart and just die. It's like, God forbid, if you have to watch like somebody, a healthy human being, like descend toward death, he starts to get sick. And then, I had a friend that was going through death, and it's really sad to talk to somebody as they're going through all the stages of getting close to death. And he said, now things happen in my body that have never happened before. For some reason, I'll just wake up and my toe will be killing me. And then yesterday I tried to pee and I couldn't, like the body's just doing weird stuff. So now, because your economy is kind of hit, like financial life support, like it's really been affected by the virus, by all kinds of viruses. It's just behaving in just really strange ways. And so if you wonder also why, a lot of people ask, well, if the price of oil is negative, why isn't the price of gas negative, or why isn't it zero? Well, because the gas stations actually have to bump up the price to make up for the cost of marketing, to make up for taxes, to make up for the cost of refining the oil to turn it into gasoline. They have to pay to transport the oil to the gas. So there's a lot of costs stacked up on top of that negative number to the point where it becomes positive again, which is why you'll never go to the gas pump and they'll like give you money to take gas. Like that wouldn't make any sense, right? So that doesn't pass down to the consumer, but it does exist in the futures market. And so when you think about the futures market, and kind of the fact that you have the speculators who really don't want the oil. Like the speculators are people that just want to trade. They don't actually want the commodity. Like a lot of my students that trade in commodities, they might buy pork bellies or orange juice futures or whatever, but they don't want the delivery of that stuff. Like nobody wants a bunch of that stuff, delivered on their porch. So in a way, they like to play the game, but they don't necessarily want the physical manifestation of whatever game that they're playing, right? And so they're playing that game with people that actually do want the physical manifestation, that really do want that commodity of the expiration date. So in a way, I would almost compare it to like this. Compare it to sex, right? If you think about it like this, right? Why do people have sex? I mean, why did God invent it, right? He didn't invent it so that you could like have an enjoyable experience. It's invented because you reproduce, you create human beings from that, right? That's where people come from, right? So you think about the best sex you ever had in your life, you're probably thinking about how great it was. But it's funny, like when you got this little screaming, annoying 12-year-old kid, and that kid is a product of, of all the freaky shit that you did back in the 1990s, right? You know what I'm talking about? Okay, I hope y'all get it. This is a grown folks conversation. But the point of the matter is to say that the speculators are kind of like the people that just want to have sex. Like they just want to sort of enjoy the experience of being in the market and enjoy the transfer of risk and the profitability that can come from trading in these commodities. And the people that actually want the physical delivery, are like the people that actually want to have a baby and actually want to raise the baby, right? And so those are two different markets. So basically imagine a guy who says, yeah, I like to have lots of sex. I think sex is great. I have sex, 4 times a week, 10 times a week, whatever. And then somebody says, okay, well, you just slept with this woman and now she's going to have a baby. Would you like to have that baby? Well, there are some guys who might be like, oh, no, I didn't want to actually have a baby. I just wanted to enjoy the sex, right? Because a lot of people have sex and they don't even think about the baby, right? The babies just kind of pop out. I think the futures market is the same way. You have speculators that engage in trade that have no interest in engaging the physical manifestation of those trades. Right? They have no interest in taking delivery of, a bunch of barrels of oil that they were trading in the futures market. But the thing is, if you're trading at a certain point in that game and the market is behaving in certain ways, you could be stuck with the oil. So what would you do? You might pay somebody to be like, look, I don't want this oil. I don't just take it, right? Like, I don't, oh, baby, wait, no, right? You know what I'm talking about. Y'all get what I'm saying, right? So in a way, I would almost say that is, that's the way to kind of sort of look at it. And a lot of you asked me about it, so I thought it would be worth kind of talking about. And oil is different from other sorts of commodities, right? Like, for example, there are other, there are certain vegetables that where the price plummeted during the Corona crash because apparently people eat fewer vegetables when they're locked in their house than they do when they're out and about. Don't know why, it's just true. So if you're a farmer and the price of peaches plummets, well, you don't have to pay somebody to take delivery of your peaches. You can just destroy the peaches. You can just, chop them up, drill them back into the ground. You can, throw them in an incinerator and nobody's going to give you an issue. But if you do that with oil, you can't just sort of bury your oil in the ground or throw it in the ocean, because that's an environmental issue, right? You have to pay somebody that will take that oil and store it. So you must pay what they call storage costs. So that's what's going on with that. And that's just my 2 cents. And I hope that helps some of you understand what's going on. If you want to get my big picture opinion on on what's happening now, I will say this. If you're a stock market investor, I congratulate you a little bit in the sense that you probably have actually made some money in the last couple of weeks. I think it's very important to understand that money is made in every type of economy. Every type of economy has the winners and has the losers. And I would encourage you to learn all the different ways that people are winning in different economies so that you can position yourself to be a beneficiary of those things. Okay. So anyway, Let's see. Somebody said, "Oh no, white people respect Dr. Watt." Why y'all talking about white people? Are there any white people invited to this conversation? White people can come. Like if you're white, I don't hate you. I don't have a lot of energy to hate anybody. But this is black people first. So this is. So if you want to come to the world of black people, then God bless you, Rachel Dolezal. You can just do your thing. Let's see. Dr. Boyce unintentionally helping white people and their enemies to black people by giving out real important financial information on social media. I don't even know what that means, man. Okay, so anyway, all right. So I hope you guys have a great day. Don't forget two things. One, three. One, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button. Two, Black Movie Night happens tomorrow night, totally free. Register at blackmovienight.net. That's blackmovienight.net. We are building a black Hollywood, a black movie industry that's coming out of the black community. We're going to watch The Melanin Code, which is a great film. I happen to be in it. Jay Morrison's in it. A lot of other people, great people are in it. And it's done by Marcus Small. It's a very good movie. You're going to love it. So register at blackmovienight.net. Last but not least, if you happen to have an interest in being a part of my masterclass, I decided to do another masterclass. 6 weeks of live sessions where I'll break down investing in all different levels and all different ways. And also you get access to the recordings and you get a bunch of bonuses and stuff like that. So if you're interested in joining the masterclass for the next day and a half, you can actually get 48% off. We start May 6th. So if you're interested in taking a look, go to drboycemasterclass.com. That's drboycemasterclass.com. If somebody could type that into the chat, I would appreciate that. drboycemasterclass.com. So feel free to go check that out. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. And I will be back very, very soon. Take care. Peace.